Welcome back. Welcome back. Uh, I am your host, Jermaine,
And I am Renita.
and today we wanted to talk about the importance of giving.
Right.
I think with the holidays coming along, a lot of times uh, we as people in general, especially in America, um, it becomes a time to start thinking about gifts, obviously, for our immediate family as well as some extended family. But we forget about those who are in need. And I think that it's important, right now, given Thanksgiving coming around the corner and Christmas coming around the corner, that it's a great topic to talk about right now and what we think about giving and how we give and all of those great things.
Right. Especially this year with the pandemic and a lot of people out of jobs and or just getting less money in general. Yeah, I think that it's important that we look outside of ourselves and not so much about what we can be getting, but like you said, what we can give and just giving back in general. It's something that we have done and do on a regular basis, but I feel like this year it's important to also incorporate, the kids and all of that.
Right, right. So, what I'll do is I'll give a definition, one of the definitions that I got of giving, which is the transfer of something without expectation of receiving something in return. That sort of kind of hit me because when you give, a lot of times, especially in the entrepreneur world, or maybe it's just me, a lot of times when you give, whether you're expecting something necessarily right back at that time span, whether it's some information about something or something like that, always sort of kind of have in the back of my head, like, okay, I know one day I'll probably need this person. But by this definition, it's to give something without expectation of receiving something back.
Hmm.
When you think of giving, in all honesty, is it just giving, or sometimes in some of your giving you think about the return?
I would say overall it's just about giving.
Uh-huh.
I don't know, giving has been something that has always been a part of my life, whether it was from my mom or whatever, or us going and helping out at the shelter or food banks and whatnot. So, yeah, I never was like, oh, maybe I'll get something in return or karma or this, but just because I feel like I had an abundance, it always it makes me feel good. That's for sure. I like to give, but
Right.
not thinking like, oh, I would get something back.
See, and that makes a lot of sense because you think about where it comes from as a kid, and not that we didn't get anything as a kid, but you grow up and there's 5, 6 kids in the house all the time, and me being the middle kid, having younger siblings and older siblings, everything was always a bartering system. So
Yeah.
for my giving, a lot of times, and even within the household, it was like, hey, you want these new shoes? Well, you got to do A, B, and C for it. And
Mm-hmm.
so my introduction to giving always tied to some type of, okay, reciprocation, getting something back. And so that's why when I read this definition, not that obviously as I got older, it was a lot different when I would do stuff, but I always had in the back of my head, whether it was, give to, what is it called? Like karma or something along those lines. I've always felt like whenever I did give, not that necessarily it was like, okay, I gave this person $20. I'm hoping to get $20, within the next week or something along those lines. But just the thought process has always been in the back of my head. It's good to give because when you give, you also receive. And so it's just my introduction to it was a lot different in that aspect.
And also, I mean, thinking about what you're saying, it's even in church. I remember they
Uh-huh.
did say like when you give tithes,
Right.
the Lord blesses you. So
Right.
that probably is another reason why you probably thought that too. It's
Right.
like a give and a take.
Right. Right.
So that makes sense that you would correlate the two. For me,
Uh-huh.
it was just, I guess if I'm being honest, if I would give, especially stuff that I had,
Uh-huh.
maybe like toys or clothes around the holidays, then I knew that means that more are coming
Right.
in.
Right.
So I guess, that's kind of true too for me.
Mm. And so, obviously, once being married to you, and even before when I met you, I'm not sure. Did I ever do any giving that you witnessed prior to me actually saying like, hey, we need to start giving or anything along those lines?
I mean, I don't remember. Probably
Remember?
you
Yeah.
did. I don't know.
Okay. So yeah, so that's just the the way, you know, giving is supposed to work. And the reality is, you know, a lot of times now when I do give, a lot of times I'm giving it some, you know, someone who I believe is less fortunate. And not that that matters, but you know, either they're asking for money, or I may see something and something, I get a feeling in my gut and it's like, okay, give it. Like, you remember, I think it was like last year, I was jogging in the mornings, real early in the morning, and what I noticed on one street was a lot of people sleeping in their cars. You know, I would get up at 4 o'clock and do my miracle morning, and I would run. I'll get out there and start running between 4:45 and 5 o'clock in the morning, and from doing that for about 3 weeks straight, I started noticing people sleeping in their cars, and then I noticed this one guy in his car all the time, and I remember actually noticing him during the day. I mean, in the morning, and then one time I at that time spent when I would jog in the morning and at night, or in the evening, I saw him again, and I remember going anytime I would have cash in that cash box. I remember because of the pandemic, everyone was saying, "Hey, store money, you know, have some money along just in case something goes wrong." And I had, you know, a couple $100 in that thing, and I saw that guy, and I remember just, you know, something put it on my heart to say to give it to him. And so as I jogged by, I remember having the envelope. Well, I saw him, so I went home, got the money, and went back, and I just put it on his thing, and you know, he got it. He said thank you, and that was that. And I knew I wasn't going to get anything back from him in particular, but I just feel like when you give, the reality is, it always happens. You end up getting back. I have stories and stories from that type of situation with concern to that. So what about you in your timing of giving? Is there a story, or is there something that happened where you were always like, oh, okay, you know, you need to do it? Because it's great. It sounds, one of the things you said was your mom sort of kind of instilled that into you as a young kid. But then, you know, there's always that back, because you knew, okay, I get rid of these old toys, I'll get new toys. But I'm pretty sure as time progressed, there's probably a story or two.
I mean, I don't have like a particular story. I was just, like I said, growing up, we would always like adopt a child or adopt a friend. At church, they would have a tree. So it was always important that as I was, you know, making lists of what I wanted, my mom would always make sure, okay, you need to get something for other kids or whatever. And like I was saying, I just think that it's important for us to instill that in our kids. I feel like we haven't done that really with the kids per se, even though we give either, rather it's like donating money or like the twins' clothes I always pass down to another twin mom and her boys. And so it's something that we just do, but just kind of letting them know, maybe like adopt a kid or they have to go shop for that child. And, you know, I think it would be important to do.
Okay. Well, maybe we'll do that. Maybe we do that. Yeah, maybe we'll do that this year.
Yeah, I think that we should, even with the twins. I think that would be good to say, you know, okay, let's get something for a friend, you know, that might not get any toys. Because I know that there's on Facebook groups, there's tons of people right now who are just like, I don't know what I'm going to do for Christmas. So.
Okay. And then what, like, as far as the kids go, because, you know, thank goodness we're in a position where our kids aren't lacking. You know, we get a lot of support and, you know, some of the things that we're doing. But what age do you think it's good to sort of kind of allow kids? Because the reality is when kids grow up, if they grow up poor, then until they get around other kids, they think everyone sort of kind of lives that way until reality hits. And same if they grow up and have whatever they want. So for kids who have everything that they want, when do you think as a parent is a good time to either have them, you know, explain to them that everybody doesn't get what they want and how they're privileged, and understanding that, and, you know, having them volunteer and give some of their time?
I think as soon as you think they can start understanding, like for instance, the twins are 3, and so they brought up the idea of Santa. So I've already said, like, Santa doesn't bring all the gifts. Like, just telling them that, because some kids aren't going to get any gifts. So just saying, you know, he just brings the small stuff. Just, you know, that way they don't go to school and have anybody feeling left out or feeling bad because they got all this stuff. So just starting with little stuff like that, like, oh, your parents got you this, you know, this, Santa got you this, or just having, even with Keone, I think, who's 12, he knows, you know, not all kids just snap their fingers and are able to get this. However, I think it's like a fine line, because you don't want them to like pity maybe like classmates or like feel like, oh, poor you, but feel like inspired, like, well, what can I do to help others, you know? So it's important to do that. I mean, because we wanted to go to like the food banks. It's a little bit tough this year with the pandemic,
Right.
but just showing them, I think with actions or just letting them see how other people kind of live or just having those conversations. Like, also, I think that we stopped telling like, we don't have to get you
Right.
any gifts for Christmas. It's not, a guarantee. Like, it's kind of a privilege or,
Right.
you do what you're supposed to do, all that kind of stuff. Just letting them know that this isn't just everybody's reality, that you're blessed.
Right. Right. Okay. Okay. And so another thing that a lot of people don't think of, and I think just depending on who you are and what's going on, there are other ways to give. It's not always just a monetary thing. It's not always some type of gift or something like that. What are some other ways that you can think of with regards to giving in general?
You can definitely give of your time. Of course, you could donate things maybe that you no longer need, which is, I guess, gifting, kind of. I mean, I feel like it's not all the way, because it's not like brand new things.
Right.
But,
Right.
yeah, because time is precious. So maybe you just want to help somebody with moving or bringing them meals, if
Right.
they just had a baby or someone's sick. That to me is all like giving, because it's giving of yourself, your time.
Right. Okay. And see, and that's one of the things that is said. You can give up your time, warmth, and friendship, which is something that you don't really think of a lot of times, but sometimes that means so much
Right.
to somebody who has everything. Sometimes just a listening ear can make waves, and you can give and not have to be rich. You know what I mean?
Right, no.
Obviously, with your time. I mean, one of the things you always hear wealthy people say is money, all that stuff don't matter. What matters is your time, because that's something you can never get back. And to actually give that to someone else, I think, is one of the highest forms of giving that you can do, is your time with regards to that. Okay, okay. So, can't think of anything else. We're 12 minutes into it.
Oh, gosh.
What else would be on the giving? Okay, so with Thanksgiving, I know there's a lot of controversy on the actual date and how Thanksgiving came about, but what it's evolved into is a time where you call around family and friends, and obviously you eat and you socialize and you guys talk. Now, when you were growing up in your family on Thanksgiving, did they actually go around and say something that they were thankful for, or was that just it just pretty much came with the territory
Yeah, I do remember that. I don't think it was like a every year
thing?
but I definitely think that there were years like that, and then it kind of turned into, which this is like the years that I really hated, where everybody was just so focused on like the Black Friday sales and the papers, and
Right.
it was like nobody was engaging in the actual day of just being
Right.
together. People were out the house by like 5, 6 o'clock, and that was horrible. I think it was like took away from the holiday for sure, and that's part of just being kind of greedy and just being more consumers and just being like, oh, we gotta get these deals. So yeah, but I think overall, yeah, we would go around and say what we were thankful for and enjoy each other's company and play games and all that.
Okay. And see, and I think that not only, I mean, obviously you think about giving around Thanksgiving, or hopefully those of you who are listening and so forth do think about giving, but making that routine thing. I know that there was a time when we were going over our finances and so forth. Each month we wanted to try and give some type of monetary thing. And then as time progressed, I kept saying like, hey, we need to find a place to actually donate our time. At one point with me, I had donated time. I was going to Boys to Men, which was the youth, younger kids, troubled youth, single parent homes and so forth. And I would volunteer my time there. It was like every Wednesday, and it was pretty cool. Speaking of those kids, because of my background and where I came from, just letting them know that if you do come from a bad background, you can still be successful and things can still work out. And so that was something I was doing. But obviously once the pandemic hit, the schools closed down. Hopefully from the way things sounding, things are going to probably be closing up again. Before things are going to get worse before they get better. But what are some ways that people can actually give during the pandemic? What are some things that people can do?
I think there's definitely programs that you can donate to, and one coming up that we mentioned last time was Toys for Tots,
Right.
donating gifts. There's other, or just even on Facebook, there's a lot of groups like Buy Nothing groups and
Right.
different groups that are like a gifting type of group who families are looking for just help.
Right.
That's something that I'm hoping that we can do is just like an adopt a family, family of 4 kids or whatever, and then give them gifts. Of course, at churches, there's still, where they usually have, I don't know if they're going to do it now with the pandemic, but I'm sure if you contact your church, there's families that they know who need help.
Right.
You can look into food banks, and if you're not able to actually go to a food bank, they might do more of like a package thing this year, giving of your time to prepare those packages. I just think there's just lots of ways, especially with all the social media and internet access. You just kind of Google or
Right, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think could be very great, and it deals with friendship, is I don't know if you guys do this, but I do this sometimes. I'll go through my messages, and obviously the ones at the bottom are people that you message but you haven't talked to in a while for whatever reason, whether you got busy or whatever the circumstance is. And I think that from today and on through, what I'm going to challenge myself is reaching out to all my friends, reaching out to them, just asking how they're doing, and just seeing how, letting them know that I care, because I know that's something I've done in the past before, and you just never know what somebody's going through, because a lot of times, we do have social media and some people do broadcast everything, but for the most part, people don't, and you never know what someone's going through, and just hey, I'm thinking about you, hey, I was just contacting you, see how you're doing, see how things are going. That can make someone's day. I remember even hearing a story where a situation like that happened with a friend of mine, reached out to another friend, and he was actually close to a suicidal type situation. And because he reached out, because he was feeling like no one cared, and this friend just randomly did that, and you just never know. Those types of impacts mean so much. And during this time, we can get so caught up on trading gifts and buying stuff and, doing all of that. Even on the day of Thanksgiving, now obviously you got Black Friday, so a lot of people are just focusing on spending, but there's so much that you can do. Just a simple text, a group text or individual text. I think individual texts seem a little more personal, but reaching out in that aspect definitely help with regards to friends and people that you may have not talked to for some time, and people that you may have problems with as well. You can have problems or issues with people depending on the circumstance and what was, transpired with those people. Life's short, and just reaching out can make things a lot better in that aspect.
I think that I pride myself in just being that type of friend who reaches out,
Right.
However, reaching out to people that maybe there are issues with, that's definitely something that would be good during this time of year.
So,
if you're able.
Right. Depending on the circumstance, right? Right. So, okay. So, for those of you who are listening, that's my challenge to you. That's something that everyone can do. It doesn't cost any money.
No.
Doesn't cost any.
Doesn't take much time either.
Right? Just a simple text message to your loved ones, friends, maybe some family that you haven't talked to in a while. Reach out to them and just see how they're doing. Text message is always cool, and they may text back, and you go a little bit of dialogue back and forth, and just stay in contact and let people know that you still love them. We love each and every one of you guys who listen out there, and I do mean that. I want everyone to be great. I want you to be the best you can be. So my challenge to you, once you get this, which will be next Tuesday, is from that day, take a week, a day, take time out of your day, every day, once a day, find somebody that you haven't talked to or whatever the circumstance is, and send them a text message. Another challenge, another thing that happened to me probably about 2 weeks ago or a week ago. I told you about it, but I was in my car and I stopped. I was at the light, and it was before the election, and a guy next to me, a white guy next to me, was like, roll down your window, and he was getting my attention, and I just figured he may have wanted to just turn over in the lane next to me. He rolled down the window and he said to me, he goes, I just want you to have a great day. I want you to know, I want you to, understand that I hope that you have a great and fantastic day. And you know, I wasn't having a bad day, but that made me feel better. I was just like, wow, you know, that was cool that he did that. And so that's another thing you can do too. So I say go through your phone, text somebody that you haven't texted in a while, see how they're doing, and then maybe once or twice a week, say something nice to somebody randomly that you don't know. Smile, do some type of act of kindness, and you know, it'll make you feel better about the day.
Especially, I think now that we are all, trying to be so separated and wearing a mask, just doing something, whether it's like let somebody cut in front of you in line, or let somebody go in the door first. Because I just feel like we're so like, I can't talk, can't do it. And just, I mean, I get it. I mean, you got to be careful, but we don't want to lose that humanity and that side of us where we still interact with each other. So just finding ways to do that, like that guy, I mean, in the car.
Right.
Or just like, beep, beep, hey, something. Because it definitely will make somebody's day and make them smile.
Right.
And I think we could all use a little bit more of that.
Definitely. Okay, so did you want to transition into that, or maybe wait as far as the things, your book?
Maybe wait. I don't know.
Yeah, wait.
I
was gonna say, wait, just because of it was something I was gonna ask you to add on the Thanksgiving thing, maybe do the book or whatever. But anyways, this is a whole nother subject. Okay, so that is my challenge for those of you who do listen on Anchor or Spotify or wherever you can get your stuff from there. Join our Instagram, Books, Dreams, and Financial Things. Our Facebook, Books, Dreams, and Financial Things as well. Take the time out. Like, subscribe. We have a YouTube as well, Books, Dreams, and Financial Things. Like and subscribe. Those of you who are watching this, in the comments, put down if you, in fact, were able to do it once or 2 days or something along those lines, just to interact. We want to send positivity across the board with regards to everything. And, that's it. Anything else?
No, just have a great Thanksgiving and be safe.
Be safe. We love you guys. Be great.
Bye-bye.